Susan Cingari here with former UFC Octagon girl, model, and actress Amber Nichole Miller. Amber, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. How are you doing today, Amber?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
Fine, thank you. So, Amber, talk to me a little bit about what you're currently working on project-wise.
Well, currently I've got a couple of just spokesmodeling contracts with like a jean company as well. I'm working on with a swimsuit line and hopefully lingerie. I've actually just partnered with a very longtime friend of mine who's doing a amazing skincare line. She actually is a survivor of breast cancer just recently, and she's come out with some really amazing products. So she's asked for my help for marketing and sales, and you know, the amount of people that I know in the beauty world as well as the fitness world where they can really utilize these, like, you know, for dryness and those kind of things, because you go through all of that, you know, through chemo, but you also go through that, you know, when you're fit and you're going through fitness and you know, have a daily regimen, you tend to get dry as well. So those are my most exciting, other than possibly being the captain on a fishing reality show, which would be so much fun because I love to fish and I've had a boat since 2006. So being a captain is a natural fit, and then fishing has become my new love, especially with Tito. I mean, that's his getaway and that's his, you know, peace, and I've found the same thing. So I love it.
So were you into fishing before you met Tito then?
Well, I was. I mean, when I grew up as a little kid, I grew up in Denver, Colorado. So we would go camping and we'd fish for, like, you know, rainbow trout and that kind of thing. But it was never, you know, like a sport fishing. Whereas now I get to go to the ocean with Tito and catch, you know, yellowfin and yellowtail that's like 30 pounds. And it's exciting. Like, it makes it more exciting, you know, to catch that big fish.
And I bet you look mighty sexy behind one of those rods. I'm sure many of you have many a male viewer tuning in on that.
For sure. I make sure I wear a really nice bikini every time.
That's good for the ratings. We like that.
Right.
Talk to me a little bit about how you actually met Tito then.
Well, I actually met him through the UFC, and you posted that my first one was UFC 40. It was actually UFC 34 that I started with, and that was at the MGM with Matt Hughes and Carlos Newton. I remember just from those two people, because Carlos Newton was one of the first fighters to really, like, bring me in and you know, tell me about the sport and that kind of stuff, because I watched it but didn't really know. But I met Tito pretty much shortly after that, and you know, honestly, the UFC was like a family. Like, it was very small. There were, you know, a few key players, and everyone knew everyone, and you kind of in passing got to see each other pretty regularly. So, you know, I met him somewhere around 12 or 13 years ago, and you know, we've always been friendly, seen each other in passing. I lived in Vegas for 17 years, and you know, we've kept in contact, you know, here and there, and you know, just been friends through a lot of years. So
how is training camp coming along for Tito then?
It's going awesome. Like, he's healthy, he's happy. You know, his training camp is, you know, really pushing him and, you know, switching things up for him. And I think that it's really, you know, it's good for him. And, you know, his road work is good, and his eating habits are good. I mean, I cook breakfast and dinner every day. So, you know, if I don't cook lunch, but sometimes I do if we're home. But, you know, we're juicing and we're eating really healthy. So he's in a really great place. And then, you know, with all this craziness and this hate, it's great motivation for him. So
many of our viewers are interested in your reaction to this question. And I know you're expecting this. What was your reaction to the Stephan Bonnar incident with the Justin McCully thing?
Well, to be honest, I was pretty surprised. I actually know Stephan Bonnar just from living in Vegas for so long, and I know his wife really well. I was kind of disappointed that that's the route he was going, but I almost have to say that it's because this is his biggest paycheck, so he's going to have to be out there and be over the top and be this, you know, this heel, because it's the only way he's going to get a payday. Because after fighting Tito, that's going to be his last payday, sadly, but that's my honest feeling on it. So, you know, if that's what he had to do, that's what he had to do. And to be honest, I didn't even know who Justin McCully was. So I just laughed. I was like, who's the gimp? I'm like, I'm confused by who this guy is.
Is Tito still upset about the incident, or is he sort of just moved past it and just preparing for the fight then?
I mean, I think he's moved past it, obviously. Like, he's a grown man, and these guys kind of show their true colors. So it's just more motivation to, prove these naysayers wrong, and these guys coming out with all of these rumors and accusations. And really, quite honestly, like, it's sad to see people's true colors come out that he considered brothers. But, it boils down to these guys are jealous and they're money hungry, and they feel like if Tito's successful, then they should reap the benefits. And that's not how it works. You have to do your own work to reap benefits. So
one thing that was very concerning for me was the fact that oftentimes kids hear things on TV, and then they take that information back to school and they can be bullied. To your knowledge, was any of the information that was conveyed during the Stephan Bonnar incident brought back to any of Tito's kids, and were they then bullied in school by the incident?
I don't believe so. I don't think that anyone's, especially, like, he's got an older son, 12 years old. His name is Jacob. He lives in Arizona. He never mentioned anything. I know that age is for sure one of the ages where they'd see that, but I think that people kind of see through that. Even as a little kid who's an MMA fan, you're going to notice that that's phony and it's very, acted up. That's not real. So I don't think any problems. And then as far as the littles, absolutely not. I mean, they're too little to know what's going on, but they do know that that's the guy Daddy doesn't like.
That's good to know, because I think that would be really devastating to have another kid say something disrespectful about your father. I think that, to me, would be devastating for the child, of course.
Oh, for sure.
So you said you cook, but when I interviewed Tito, he said he also was a good cook. So I want to know, what is your favorite dish that he cooks?
Oh my gosh. I think my favorite is when he gets really creative. He made this amazing, like, stuffed chicken with broccoli and cream of mushroom soup, and I don't even know what it was. I don't think he really knew what it was, but it came out to be like one of the most delicious things I've ever eaten. So he gets really creative in the kitchen, and I try to keep it fresh and new too. It's just, you got to keep it interesting, and it's better than eating out, and it's good family time. So it's cool.
Girl, you got that killer body. What's your secret to staying so sexy and slim?
I have to be honest. I mean, I try to work out like 3 days a week or 4 days a week at most. It boils down to the food you consume and drinking water and staying, healthy. I mean, I don't drink, I don't go out, so I don't do any of that stuff. But I think once you've got the good muscle memory, you don't have to work as hard. So luckily, a lot of it is genetic. And once you've built that, that nice firm body, it just takes a little upkeep.
I think it's a lot of good genetics in your case. A lot of good genetics.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
When will we see you back on air then?
I'm hoping to. I mean, I've talked a little bit to Bellator. I really would like to, almost be a spokesmodel position that sort of helps with the ring girls and helps with interviews and that kind of stuff. I'd like to do something in that facet where, I help market, because I feel like they're not utilizing all of these enormous things that they could be. These ring girls could be getting a lot more notoriety and doing calendars and doing that kind of stuff. And that's something I already know how to do because I did it with the UFC. So I'd like to do that. And then, an on-camera presence is like, my number one. And to be honest, I would love to be on like some kind of a sports show as an anchor or an on-camera interview, because it'd be the most fun.
I think that would be a perfect spot for you, because you've been involved as a ring girl in the Octagon. It'd be a natural transition for you to be involved with Bellator. So I wish you good luck in that. Yeah. Now we have some fan questions. So okay. Lily first has a comment. Amber is beautiful and kind, a complete package. These kids will forever remember what an awesome gift you are. Would you like to respond to Lily?
I actually did when she tweeted that too, but I am so thankful that, people see past all of the rumors and all of the nonsense, and really at the core of everything, it's the happiness of the littles, and that they have a healthy and happy environment. And that I was raised that same way. I was raised really well, and my parents are very loving, and they made sure that we knew all the basics, and we were raised, to be respectful. And that's what I try to do with the littles. And I, you know, I love them and they're my life. Like, that's my number one. So I'm really appreciative when people appreciate what I'm doing, because, you know, it is hard work, and it's hard to come into a family and try to, you know, instill those values the way I was taught too. So, but it's, you know, it's very important to me.
Next up on board, JT Walsh wants to know why she's the infamous Savage of faux show. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, JT. Sorry about that.
Well, everybody, they all say "oh for show," which is like "oh for sure." So that's what that means. And Savage, honestly, like, it started with one of my best friends in Vegas. I don't know if you've ever seen, what is that? It's a Ben Stiller movie, and we just laughed because she got sunburned really bad, and she was like, I wanted to get savage. And so we always said that. So whenever we go in the sun, we're like, we're getting savage. So it just became that kind of slogan for us. And then I got Savage license plates on all my cars.
Oh, you go, girl.
Yeah.
You go.
So I had 2 cars named Savage. I had a boat named Savage. So it just became like this big thing about being a savage. And so that's why it's so funny, because everyone's like, it's the Savage.
I like that. I like that. Doug at MMA Fight Fans wants to know, what is Tito like when he is about a week or 2 away from a fight?
Well, 2, I'd have to say 2, because I don't get to see him the week before the fight. 2 weeks before the fight, he's in great spirits. You know, he's going over game plan. He's eating really clean. He's getting ready for that weight cut. And, you know, he's always in good spirits. It's, you know, it's all mentality. When he switches, that is when he's in the octagon or the ring. You know, he's not angry, and he's not frustrated, and he doesn't get, you know, irritable, because at the end of the day, he's with his family, and then he brings it to the cage is when he's ready to fight. So, and then a week before, we're not allowed to see him, because he's got to be like 100% focused on just that. So, and I would make him lose focus.
Okay. Doug at MMA Fight Fans also wants to know, Dana White follows you on Twitter. Any chance of seeing you grace the octagon again?
I don't think so. I've actually discussed that with him like years ago, after I left. We've maintained a friendship, and I think that because that's where I started, and because it was like a family organization when I first began as well, you know, I will keep in contact with him, and he will be always, you know, somebody that helped me out. And I won't be a part of the octagon, obviously, you know, especially now that Tito's in my life, and that's somebody that they, you know, are in difference with. Yeah. But, you know, I'm always going to keep that friendship alive, and I definitely, you know, don't want to take away from any of the ring girls that are there now. They do their job, and they're amazing, they're beautiful, and they're, you know, making a successful life of it.
Final question from Doug at MMA Fight Fans. Wedding bells anytime soon?
No. I know that a lot of people, you know, they assume when you're in a, you know, a relationship and it's very serious, especially when there's littles involved. But I think that we have a really great thing. We're best friends. We have an excellent partnership. We both have the same goal to make sure that the boys have a healthy, fun, you know, and happy environment where they're learning and they're excelling, and they are. And with he and I mean, we couldn't be more in love, and we couldn't be happier. So it really is a great, you know, union, and I don't think that we need to muddy it up, I would say, because we've both been married, so we know what it's like. With, you know, we don't need a paper and a ring to tell each other that we love each other and be each other's partner.
Okay. Johnny Angelov wants to know, would Amber like to get married? Well, you sort of answered that already. Right. But if it happens, would she change her name to Amber Ortiz?
Well, let's say hypothetically it ever happened someday in the future. I would. I mean, I think that, you know, it's a gift to your husband to take their name, and I think that it's more of a respect thing. You know, you respect the men that they are, and you respect them to change your name and to become one with them. So yeah, I mean, I think that's what you do when you respect the person you love.
Venecio 20131 wants to know if you have any business things going on, anything going on with the littles, which are the little kids.
Yes, I've token tagged them the littles because it's like, they're Tito's littles. They look just like him, they act just like him. We're hoping to actually. I've been in contact with an amazing lady who does like styling for little kids' clothes and that kind of stuff. And she noticed that we always dress them so cute when we do red carpets. And she's like, I'd love to start working with them and getting them free clothes and maybe getting them in some shoots. And I was like, I think they'd be excellent for that. They're Mr. Personalities. So that's something I've discussed with Tito, and he's interested in it. And it just have to be right. It'd have to be something that's healthy and not, push them past, what they would be excited to do. So.
Well, if they've got Tito's personality and you can lend them your experience, I think that's a winning combination for sure.
For sure.
Anything else you'd like to add today?
I don't think so. I mean, I was really excited to be asked to do the interview,
thank you.
I love my MMA fans, and they've kept me going for many years. Starting with UFC 34, that was a really long time ago.
It doesn't seem that long ago to me.
I'm like, time really literally flies. I think about the first one, and I met Tito 12 years ago. I'm like, it's already been 12 years. It's insane.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful for the followers and, for the constant supporters of Tito and I and our relationship and, really seeing past all the baloney and all of the rumors and supporting the fact that, we're making the healthiest and happiest decisions for the boys. And that's what's number one. So it's awesome.
And I also just want to compliment you. It's very hard to have a relationship in the public eye, and you've taken on this role with great grace and dignity. So for that, I want to really compliment you, because it's not easy to take on that role in the public eye, along with so many of the obstacles you faced. And I also want to thank you for a great interview. Amber Nichole Miller, I enjoyed it, and I look forward to interviewing you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.